Hi everyone, welcome back to JP WHU TV live on YouTube and Periscope with a man who basically, shall we say, is the Marmite of the West Ham community. Some love him, some hate him. It certainly divides opinion over the last few years. It's Dom, well known from West Ham Fan TV. Dom, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. It'd be better if I was going to a game today and the coronavirus wasn't destroying everything, but nothing we could do about it.
I know what you mean, mate. Before we go any further, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor 3retro.com. Click the link in the description below for the affiliate link where you can any purchase you make for the retro shirts and the commission that the channel would normally get will be going directly to Isla's fight. But there's not just West Ham stuff in there as well. Some really nice England gear in there as well. Just have a peruse. You'll enjoy the stuff. So, Dom, finally been able to get you on. It's a bit of ironic time that we can only get you on really because there's no football to go to. But no, it's good to finally be able to have a proper chat. I know we've had a little bit of a chat, even little bits here and there, but hopefully we'll have a decent conversation today. So first and foremost, mate, how did you get into West Ham?
My granddad used to buy me he bought me the old Dr. Martens kit, the home and away. I actually didn't like football. I was about 8 or 7, and I played for like a boys' team on the weekend. I didn't actually like football, but I was quite good at it. I played centre half, but I just happened to be good. And then I won Player of the Week a couple of times, and it was my granddad that took me to this like every weekend. And he was a big West Ham fan back in the '60s. But I don't think he went for a while after that. He was more he more preferred England. I remember in '82 he drove to Spain for the World Cup. He loved Paul Gascoigne. Paul Gascoigne was one of his idols. And he bought me the West Ham kit, and it sort of went on from there really. But he passed away a few months later when I was 8, so we never really got to go to a game together or get into West Ham together, which is a great regret in my life and something I've missed out on dearly. But since then, so probably since the age of 7, 8, I've gone to West Ham, and the rest is history.
Yeah, absolutely, and quite well documented over the last 4 to 5 years as well, for that matter. So, what was your first West Ham game?
Trying to think here. We lost, obviously. We lost 3-1 to Bolton. I think it was. I think it might have been 2008. We always used to get smashed by Bolton. Honestly, I think I can only recall us beating them once before we went down, and then obviously they went down when we come back up. We haven't played. Well, we played them once since we beat them because that club's on their knees right now. But yeah, it was no surprise we got beat by Bolton. I remember we absolutely dominated the first half, and then all of a sudden we were 2-0 down at the start of the second, and same old West Ham. Never liked playing Bolton. I don't recall us ever winning at the Reebok. We might have done in the past, but I certainly can't remember us winning there. I think we beat them. I think it was the Great Escape season. We beat them, I recall, in the FA Cup in 2006 when we made it to the final. We beat them in the replay. I think we played them about 5 times that season because we had them in the League Cup as well. And it was never nice playing Bolton. But yeah, no surprises we lost to them.
So apart from the obvious one, is Bolton the other team that you just absolutely can't despise, or is there anybody that you hate on the equal terms of Spurs?
Palace. A lot of people know I don't like Palace. But lately I've just I don't really give a shit about them anymore. I can't really say much because they've beaten us twice this season. They're well above us in the league. Obviously, Millwall are our arch rivals. They're not nice. I can't stand Man United or Chelsea, for that matter. Man United probably for more like political reasons in football. The fact they're not as good as they used to be, but they still go around acting so entitled, like they deserve success and the like.
Fair
Everyone
point.
goes through bad patches. I don't like Man City either. I thought after they thought it'd be funny to put me in one of their videos in August, which didn't have nice repercussions for me personally. So
No.
yeah, so no, I ain't a fan of the Manchester clubs, to be honest.
Are you ever brave going up there?
What do you mean?
Have you ever been to Old Trafford or now the
Oh yeah,
Etihad?
loads of times. You won't stop me going. I mean, I didn't go to the Etihad this year because of the bloody storm Chiara.
Yeah.
And obviously Sky Sports and our weak-minded club decided it would be funny to rearrange it within a week, thus giving people, like me included, no time to get it off work. So I gave it a miss.
Yeah, I know that was. I mean, we all saw it coming, but yeah, they just left it really too late, unfortunately. Because if I remember correctly, you and Nikki were stuck in traffic outside Milton Keynes, wasn't it? I think when the news broke that the game wasn't going there.
We were actually doing all right into the journey. It was about 2 hours in. We started getting messages from people saying the game's going to get called off. I'm like, this is not really. Like, I mean, I know the weather was bad, but it's like the Premier League. Like, sure, they got enough facilities, but it was really, very windy. So we parked up at services because Nicky didn't want to go any further in case the game did get called off. And about 10 minutes later, Man City themselves tweeted that it was off. We turned out into traffic and slam, we hit a wall. And we were stuck for 2 hours trying to get out. And then we had to turn around still. And just a complete waste of a day. Do you know what? It's been one of many crap days this season. Disaster. I think this whole season's just been a complete and utter disaster. And the coronavirus has just made it absolutely worse. I mean, definitely, hands down, this is the worst ever Premier League season that I've watched. For many, many reasons. I mean, I could write you a long list.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. I mean, we'll come on to that in a minute. But just in terms of the bowling ground, what was the? If anyone says to you the bowling ground, what's the first game that springs straight to mind to that? Will that be the first game that you were at, or was there a favourite game that jumped straight to mind?
Yeah, probably the first game I went to, but I'd rather think of better games because it wasn't a very good first game to go to. The Chelsea 2-1 on the last season stands right up there. That was superb. I mean, we had some great times there. I remember we took Liverpool apart, and Man City in the same season.
Yeah,
the final.
Right at the start, isn't it?
I mean, to be honest, a lot of people love reliving the final night at the bowling. I thought it was the way we went off was absolutely the way we gave the ground a send off was so fitting. The game was an absolute classic. Couldn't have gone out in a better way. But I look back on that and I just think it more like the end of an era. And it's like I feel quite emotional looking back on it because it was the last time. And I thought, you know, I spent the whole day up there, and then kickoff got delayed. And by the time I walked into the ground. I left the pub about 15 minutes till original kickoff, and I was having a great time in the pub. I didn't want to leave, and then I walked through the turnstile. As soon as I walked through the turnstile, I checked my phone, and it was kickoff delayed. And I turned around to get back out, and the bloke wouldn't let me go back out. So that was a bit annoying, but it couldn't take away what a great night it was. But I also look back on it quite thinking this was the last night of the really good times of being a West Ham fan, and for everyone the way they see it, because things aren't the same now, given the move to the stadium. My favourite one was probably that night we beat Tottenham that season, when Antonio scored. last time we played them at the bowling and beat them. And it was a special season. There were so many fantastic moments that season, and I look back on it now and I get very, very nostalgic. Just a great season.
Yeah, I mean, apart from that shocking Swansea loss that we had at home, that was awful. But yeah, I agree. There's a lot of sentiment and very, very good memories for a lot of us.
The bowling was great. Just going there was great. It was our place. It was a proper football ground. I enjoyed it. I got up for it so much more than I do going to the London Stadium. I think I also mentioned that FA Cup replay against Everton when Adrian scored the winning penalty. That was a special one for me. That's definitely up there with the best games I've been to.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, no, that night was just that was the only penalties I've ever watched where I wasn't worried. For some random reason, I
Really?
wasn't bothered. I was just like, well, we've got this. But yeah, that celebration he did as well.
I couldn't bear it because Downing, we had a chance to win it, and then Downing missed.
Yeah.
And and then they scored their next one, and then it was like all pressure was on us because if we missed another one, we'd lose. But we held our nerve, and it was a great night at the end.
Yeah, it was absolutely one of you're absolutely right, mate. It certainly was one of the best, and it's quite interesting to know that Adrian was the only goalkeeper we've got that's actually scored 2 goals for us. Technically, one was in Noble's friendly, his testimonial game, but it was. All right, so I don't suppose you got to see the Harry Redknapp transfer talk program he did in the last week or so, did you?
No.
I watch it. It's entertaining. It got my blood pressure up on a few places because, for example, he was talking about how he begged Rio Ferdinand not to go. Well, there's a lot of Redknapp's isms in there. But watch it if you want to get some anger out because we all know what happened with the Rio deal, and you watch that and it's completely different. Right, so Don, what was the first time that you went on the fan cams with at West Ham Fan TV talking to Nicky and Ryan?
It was after it was during the final season at the Bowling because I think that's when it was around about that time they got started. I think their first video was a couple was a couple of games before the previous season ended. And then I think their first full season was the bowling season. They used to interview outside the bowling pub where the statue is, the World Cup winner statue, and they decided to move to the John Lyle Gates. And I just remember walking past them because I had a few. There were a few channels that I spoke to after games. There was this lot called. The Football Clan TV, who have since disappeared off the face of the earth because I've not seen or heard from them since. And this was like 5 years ago. There was Neeks, there was Cheeky. No, I didn't meet Cheeky Sport until a few months later, but there was definitely Neeks Sports were about. Hammer's Chat, I remember I heard of. But I'd seen West Ham Fan TV, and I did think I do want to get on there because it's I like to talk. And I walked past them, and I think they were just packing up. And I just went up to Nicky. I was like, "You got room for one more?" And he went, "Yeah, no worries." And yeah, it was a decent little interview. Obviously, I remember it well because it was my first ever one, and that was first of many.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course your infamous video at the same point for that matter. But so obviously, because we touched on it, and you touched on it a little bit as well in terms of social media. So in terms of what social media is, because we've seen some very, very good things on social media. For example, with Twitter, with Gonzo from Hammer's Chat finding his brother for the first time. He hasn't seen him in 25 years. That was brilliant. That's one of the things I love about social media. But for you, taking that aside the personal things you were going through at the end of the summer last year, what have you noticed about social media in general? Not just Twitter, but Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
I think social. I just think nowadays society, social media is such a big part of society. Um, it's literally involved in anything. I do believe if there was no social media, I think the virus outbreak currently wouldn't be as bad as it is. Because I remember the swine flu outbreak in 2009, and you could call it similar to this, but it was nowhere near as like worldwide or called like a crisis, a national health disaster, the worst we're facing for a generation, like the Prime Minister said. Um, I mean, I'm no medical expert, listen, but I do believe with social media now, social media is sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, inflated the fears of other people and the BBC News and ITV News, etc. Because more people, everyone's got a phone these days. People put different things on the internet about it, and people on the internet self-proclaim to be like their cousin knows this person who knows this person who's a professional scientist X Y Z. But yeah, I mean, I've been on social media since I was 15. I think I set up Facebook when I was 15. I think it's you can get in contact with people. I mean, I found my cousins a few months later who I've not seen for years on Facebook. Good. So that's a good thing out of it.
Yeah.
Twitter's a little bit of a, it can be a cesspit, but I mean, I'm currently suspended on Twitter because some Herbert didn't like what I had to say to him in a conversation last Tuesday. So they'll let me back on. So the Twitter police will release me this coming Tuesday. So I've only got 2 days left. It's a bit annoying because a lot's happened this week, given the outbreak of the suspension of the Premier League, and I can't say anything because I can't tweet, which is frustrating. I think I like to air my views across Twitter as well, and if you disagree with it, fine. But I mean, it's social media, and people aren't so nice on social media, unfortunately.
Agreed. I mean, it's a platform for freedom of speech, is just as YouTube is and everything else. But there are limits that if you don't like somebody's opinion, fine. But you've got a lot of people have got to respect that, and it's one of the awful things that we're in situation we're in at the moment. So okay, so let's turn to this season now, mate. I mean, you touched on it earlier. You said that you feel it's one of the worst seasons you've ever seen, and I can't really disagree with you, but do you want to expand on that? I mean, what do you
disaster? It's been an absolute disaster from day one. Right, I have hated every single minute of it. I've hated the way our club's been this season. I think we've got too many. It's not just West Ham; it's many things which I'll touch on in a minute. But West Ham, for starters, I just think we've got too many mercenaries in the team. It's literally a repeat of the 27 of 2 seasons ago. We sacked a manager midway through. Our players are so unfit for some reason. Everyone hates the board. We've got too many mercenaries who don't want to play for the badge. David Moyes is back. Yeah, it's and if it's not that, it's the introduction of the VAR, which for me is just killed off any little life the Premier League had left. I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I mean, I see a goal now come up on my phone, right, when I'm not watching the game, and I'm half expecting it to come up again saying, "Oh, no goal, VAR," because that's what it is now. But it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
They're giving off sides for how long your toenails are or how hairy your armpits are. They're disallowing goals around ball when you can't even help it. I mean, that Sheffield United game, the only way Declan Rice would have got away with it if someone had come and sliced his arm off in that split second.
Exactly.
Literally, because and that's no fault of the VAR. Let's not forget. I mean, people seem to forget that's the new handball law put in. But with VAR now, it picks up because a lot of times handballs leading to goals get missed, whether they're accidental or not. They get missed by referees and linesmen. I just think it's been so disgustingly inconsistent and out of line with everything football has to stand for. I think and it's even more exposing how dreadful these referees are. I mean, they don't know how to do it. The blokes in Stockley Park don't have a clue. It's not used correctly. It's just a sham. It's a farce, and it's killed the Premier League for me. This season's been a disaster. If it's not VAR, it's Sky moving all our games to fucking midweek. So we've had Aston Villa move to Monday. We've had Sheffield United move to Friday. We've had Liverpool move to Monday. City couldn't do much about because it was the storm. But had Sky left that on a Saturday and not moved to a Sunday, that would have been fine. Newcastle's now on a Friday. It's just shit, John. It's just shit. Because the amount of days, it's not just me, but everyone else who goes West Ham have had to piss about rearranging with work. It's just, it shouldn't happen. All because Sky want to make a pound note and the club just let it happen, which is, I mean, when they get suggested Newcastle on a Friday night, like fucking hell, like have a word for a minute and just think, what about the supporters who got to go up to the other side of the country on a Friday night? I mean, it's probably not going to happen now because of the poxy virus, and that's another thing. Then you get the virus coming and just wipes out all football entirely. It's just this era as a football supporter for me has just been one of the most difficult and definitely one of the worst times as a football supporter. I mean, I say that even when I've seen West Ham get relegated or losing the cup semi-final or losing the playoffs, but no football, VAR making it out to be a circus, and Sky having to piss about at our games. It's just not nice, mate. And we're probably not even going to see another ball kick this season, which you could argue is a blessing in disguise because it's been a terrible, terrible season, and I've not enjoyed a single minute of it.
No, I must admit, mate, with the exception of what was it? With the exception of us beating Chelsea away, I tend to agree that it has been awful, which is one of the reasons why I lost it when we drew to Brighton, because that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, I was talking to Marshy, but while Nicky and Ryan and that were all setting up, and he took one look. He didn't even say anything. He just took one look at me and went, "You're going to rant, aren't you?" Because I was just so angry that day. That was just. Oh, I know what you mean. I mean, but so let's talk about this now, because obviously football's suspended apparently for just at least the next 3 weeks.
No way.
In your honest opinion, when do you feel that it's very likely we'll see any games resume? Do you reckon that's going to happen, or?
I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. It's we're not medical scientists. We're not governing leaders. It's just a very, very dark situation for the world, and it feels like the end of the world. I mean, I'm seeing videos in Italy, and they're all on balconies singing, and you've got the army being deployed, making sure everyone's indoors. I was going to go to Benidorm in a couple of weeks. For my mate Stag. We can't go anymore because Benidorm's on lockdown. I'm seeing videos of cars driving around Benidorm with like loudspeakers telling everyone to stay indoors, like it's some sort of zombie apocalypse. It's horrible. It's really horrible. Flights are cancelled. Everyone's panicking because the virus is spreading so quickly, and no one knows what to do. I believe it's an airborne virus because people who haven't been abroad are getting it. But then they're catching it off someone who's caught it, 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 off someone who's been abroad. That's how viruses spread. But the way it's spreading so much quicker than just like the odd contact with the person makes you think, it probably is airborne. And now the world is in complete disarray. No one knows what to do. No one knows how to contain it. People don't know what to do. People with symptoms of the virus are still walking into hospitals and GPs when they've been told clearly not to. People are self-isolating if like someone they know or been in contact with has symptoms. If you get a cold now, symptoms of a cold, I can't go to work for a week, nor can you. Government advice. Like
pretty much.
The whole world is just has gone to complete and utter shit. It's just a complete and utter disaster. It's an absolute disaster. The football's off. Multiple holidays are cancelled, including my mate Stag. etc. Italy's in lockdown. Spain's in lockdown. I think the UK will be in lockdown very soon, unfortunately, which is just shit. Like, what are we gonna do? Like literally, what we're gonna do? It's gonna be like something out The Walking Dead. I mean, next thing, everyone's just gonna mutate into like flesh-eating creatures and fucking zombies, and then it'll be the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean the shitty thing is, before we went live, I got a message from work saying not to come in tomorrow.
Oh, really?
I'm not. Yeah, I mean it's basically just to work from home, which I'm really not looking forward to. I can't stand it. But if we've got to do it, we've got to do it. It kind of gives me the impression that somebody at work's contracted it. I mean, we've got 400 people at work, so the odds are at least one of them is going to have some form of symptoms, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, it was good to see that companies are taking responsibility from that side of things, just across the board. You know, all the sports have been cancelled. And there's randomly the Bundesliga is still going on. It'd be interesting to see what happens with UEFA on Tuesday when they have their conference, and there's a emergency meeting again on Thursday with the Premier League.
Is the Bundesliga still on?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, there are still a few.
I think they suspended it. I think the Russian league's on, and the Ukrainian league.
Yeah, because Russia's hardly got any. Russia's hardly got that. I think it was like 68 yesterday morning. I think it was, or something like that with Russia. So it's understandable. But yeah, but at the same time, it's, you know, the World Health Organization themselves have contradicted themselves over the last 3 or 4 days themselves, saying, you know, there's nothing to worry about, and then about a day and a half later, no, actually, sorry, no, it's a pandemic. But as we were talking about before going live, just over 100 years ago, we were in exactly the same situation with the first case of swine flu, and that ended up killing avian flu, I should say, and that ended up killing between 300,000 and 400,000 people. So it's understandable they don't want that level again. I mean, as of last night, it was 21 confirmed deaths due in the UK. Funnily enough, they didn't actually confirm if those were people just had died purely from the symptoms of it, or if they were the people that had already had underlying symptoms. The majority of those, I'm guessing, would have been like a couple here and there that were asthmatic and didn't know, or something possibly, because it's a respiratory illness. But yeah, we're going shopping, and you see people arguing over trying to buy more than 5 bottles of water or 5 bottles of this. I mean, I went shopping yesterday to get my food for the week, and most of the time I have little pasta pots, and I said, like, you can I only bought 5 anyway, but I said 5 is the maximum we're allowing of anybody to have. And yet you walk down
in my local co-op, you only allowed to have 3 of everything.
Yeah, two to 3 for toilet rolls and all that sort of stuff. But it's just it's ridiculous. But at the same point,
the world's full of shit.
Yeah, it has, and the reason being is because the majority of people are making it that way. People are panicking for because we're uneducated in that terms of things of how we can control this, because nobody knows, like you said, mate. Nobody knows, so. You know, it is bad. But one of the things I saw, I think last night or this morning, one of the two, that there's rumours that the Euros could be delayed until December. Did you hear? Yeah.
I can't do that. I mean, they're doing it for the World Cup in 2022.
Yeah.
But the sensible thing, I'm sorry, the sensible thing would be to move it to next year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree, but it was getting reported that maybe they're trying to do it. Maybe they're trying to do it because, as you say, the World Cup's going to be in the same sort of guys to try and split it that way.
It can't happen, because I bumped into Thogden and Thogdad yesterday on the train, and I was saying to Thogdad, there's no way both are going ahead. There's no way the Premier League's going to carry on and the Euros will go ahead. One will go. One's going to get scrapped. And I think it's either good. it won't surprise me if it's both. But next season, it's this next season under threat already because of the virus, and given the way this season's like under threat as well, like what are you going to do? And obviously now the Euros won't be able to be played in the summer as things stand. So move it to next summer. I mean, with all due respect, I think next summer there's, I think you've got an under-21s tournament and you've got the women's Euros as well, which probably will be a bit of a clash. And you've also got the Nations League as well. So
maybe that's their thinking, mate.
It's a disaster. No one knows because if you delay one, it's like a domino effect.
Yeah.
It delays this, it delays this, it delays that. I mean, you've got the Nations League, like I said. You've got the women's. You've got the under-21s, and then what happens? Then the next year after, you've got the World Cup, which is in winter. I mean, right now, actually, because with the World Cup in 2022 being in winter, then maybe it will be feasible to have the Premier League in that summer. I mean, I don't know, mate. It's just the World Cup in 2022 was always going to be the first of a unique situation with obviously the Premier League being grinded to a halt mid-season because of that. But now it's happening because of health issues. It's just the future of football's in doubt right now for me because it's really it's horrible to see because I just think that the teams now and like who's going to win the Champions League and oh wait, no one's going to win the Champions League because it was just all going to get scrapped because of this virus. So last night I was watching some classic matches in the Champions League, etc. And I thought, well, you're going to see one of these again. Yesterday I went over to Dulwich Hamlet for a bit of non-league action, which I love non-league. I do my ground hopping when West Ham ain't playing. It looks like I'm going to do plenty of that if they don't get called off. And I left the game after. I just felt a bit upset. Is this going to be my last match for God knows how long? It's sad and it's worrying. Like, what are we going to do? Right. Although, to be fair, it's better than having it behind closed doors because that's just...
Oh, that was weird. I mean, I don't know about you, mate, but I watched some of the Olympiacos Wolves game the other night, and it was just... I mean, I know everybody jokes about the London Stadium being a soulless fishbowl and all that sort of stuff, but that was literally that was how it was. You could hear everybody shouting their instructions. It was strange. It was really so. From that point of view, I'd rather games be suspended than have it behind closed doors. I mean, that stupid thing that came out saying that if anybody bought their tickets, they're going to get a link to watch the game if it was going to go ahead behind closed doors. I mean, Nicky's 100% right when he said that the other night. It says you're paying 35 quid for a stream. It's just
hypothetically, yeah.
It's just it's the end. I mean, even if the Premier League is going to resume at any point, albeit in the next 5-6 weeks or the next 6 months, how is it going to resume? Is it going to because nobody knows where the whole world's going to be in that side of things.
What about the games that are going to get missed? I mean, they can't if it's in 6 weeks or whatever. They're going to just have to play them as scheduled on weekends because they can't move them all to midweek.
Yeah,
right? They fucking don't anyway. But this is the Premier League we're talking about. If the Premier League is resumed within a month or so, that's goodbye to the Euros. The Euros won't happen. If they're going to scrap the Premier League, then the Euros has got a bit of hope. But I just feel sorry. I mean, everyone's affected by this. I mean, I've got a couple of friends who have got tickets to the England group games at Wembley for the Euros, and now that's not happening. People booked hotels abroad and they're hoping England will get through and go and play in that city. People. I was going to go England-Italy friendly with a few of my mates from work, and now that's been cancelled. We were looking forward to it so much. Holidays are getting cancelled. It's everyone affected. It's just shit, really. It's a really, really dark era.
It is, mate. But as I say, well, there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. And so we're just gonna have to try and grin and bear it and make the best of it that we can while we can. Unfortunately, that's the only real way of looking at it. So we've kind of hinted at it. Yesterday the Viper came out in the Sun saying that that the Premier League should
Oh,
be voided.
of course you did, yeah.
I mean,
Damn shit.
it was funny to see that it was only Spurs and us that wanted that to happen when all the Premier League heads got together
Yeah, of course it
the
is.
other
Of
night.
course it is. I mean, to be honest, John, I've not
Mm,
read into it much because I can't stand Brady and I can't stand the scum. I don't read it, right? But it's all getting spread around on social media because everyone at West Ham hates her. Let's be
yeah,
honest. So everyone's going to talk about it because it's an opportunity to dig her out, which is fair enough. But I mean, I don't rise to it anymore. I don't. I can't stand the woman. I saw she should scrap it, and of course she'd say that because we're in a relegation fight, and Tottenham are the same. They're not having a very good season. Levy, he's the sort of similar type like Brady, Golden, Sullivan, just like all out for himself, like creates his own storms and then cries and it rains type. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
um, like it's no shock there, really, John. But what can you do? I mean,
Mm,
maybe it will get scrapped, but I don't think it will get scrapped because Karen Brady wants it to. I think it will get scrapped because of um, how bad the world is right now. If it is going to get scrapped, I mean, she just loves to write a story and print pages and throw out fishing nets and have people buy it. I mean, she doesn't give a fuck either way. What she should do, and what Golden Sullivan should do, is if the season does get cancelled, they should reimburse the rest of the money for season ticket holders to make up the difference. Because at the end of the day, us season ticket holders are paying, and on the away scheme are paying what, £500 for 3/4 of a season instead of a full one, which isn't right.
exactly. I mean, the Tranmere Rovers owner said that they would give refunds out, depending on obviously what the situation is. So if I know they're not exactly cash rich, but it won't. But you're absolutely right. I personally don't want to have bloody club cash stuck on it because
Oh
that's
yeah, oh yeah, it'll be that though, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's always fucking club cash. That's why I don't sell my. That's why people don't sell their tickets back to
mm,
the club. But yeah, when they sell it to other people, they get banned because it's. I don't know. I don't understand how certain people can agree with their ways and their system. It's just a rotten thing to do, and it puts everyone off. But also, I mean, for my criticism of Man United, I saw they obviously their fans went out to Austria for the Europa League, which is behind closed doors, and
mm,
um, obviously they would have got a refund on their match ticket, but hotels was a different story, and Man United refunded it all themselves, which is a great touch. And I mean, I think United are up there with a right. I, I think they love to take and take and take because you notice when they have cup games against anyone. I remember when because obviously now the Premier League away ticket is capped at a maximum of £30 for away
mm,
supporters, which is superb, absolutely brilliant. But when it comes to cup games, that cap is no longer, required. Well, I wouldn't say required. It doesn't have to be used because it's
yeah.
not the Premier League. FA Cup tickets aren't capped. Some clubs make them cheaper, some make them don't. Man United, I remember when we had them in the FA Cup quarter final 4 years ago, they charged us £45. I remember when I think they had Wolves this season, the FA Cup replay. They
Mm.
charged Wolves £47.
I mean,
Disgusting. And
City's tickets for the League Cup, I think was like 80 or 90 or quid for just the League Cup final. It was ridiculous. No wonder they didn't
yeah,
sell out.
but you could argue, John, that's a major cup final. To be fair, Man United are charging extortionate prices for a fucking cup replay.
Yeah. I suppose, but even the point, that's one of the reasons why there's
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying it's right, but I can see
yeah.
why it's a lot of money because it's a cup final. We don't know about cup final prices because we haven't been in one since 2006. But I mean, I'm sure when the day eventually comes, we'll find out ourselves the good way or the hard way. And yeah, uh, but as for Baroness Brady and the like, I mean, she doesn't speak for West Ham fans. I couldn't give a fuck what she has to say because, like I said, I didn't read it because I don't like her and I don't care.
I mean, I've not read about it at all, and because I try not to get myself wound up from what she's saying. But it was one of the things that I was talking about on Friday night. It is one of the logistical options that could happen. Either the fact that all the games get rescheduled once the normal fixtures are done, or every game was have to be reschedule. So our next game is Wolves at home rather than potentially Chelsea at home. When in the next 2 to 3 weeks, or just get scrapped entirely. But I mean, whatever option's taken, no one's going to be happy. That's the problem. We're not going to be able
No,
to please everybody with it, and that's the thing. But at the same point, my instinct on it is bearing in mind that the way that I was taught when we grow up is the fact that if you can't do anything about it, just suck it up. The British stiff upper lip and just get on with it. That's what we need to be doing as a nation, and we're not doing that at the moment. We just need to get on with our lives and just not have to worry about all these things that's completely beyond our control. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, mate, but just before we wrap this up, so guys, those that are in the chat, I'm aware that you guys are watching. If you've got any questions you want Dom to answer, by me start putting them in the chat there. But I do yeah. So obviously we saw the other day that Nathan Holland had his injury over at Oxford,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
now
it's a
back.
shame that
It's a big shame. It's something to do with his
career
hand,
ending.
if I remember correctly. Say, for example, I mean, whatever happens for next season, would you want Holland to be in and around the 25-man squad again?
If he's not injury prone, yeah. If he's injury prone, no.
So
I mean, I know it sounds horrible, and I know it can't be helped, but I don't think there's a place for players with constant injuries in
yeah,
football, like Jack Wilshere, like Andy Carroll. If it was down to me, Carroll would have been released about 3 years ago. If it was down to me, I'd never have signed Jack Wilshere. He's so predictable, and
yeah.
we're not exactly blessed with injuries. Let's be honest. So it's just no good. But I do like Nathan Holland. I think he's a very talented player. I mean, I've been to a few under-23 games this season. I've watched him, and he makes it look easy. He's far too good for that. And I think, and when we actually played Oxford in the League Cup before, obviously they tore us apart. Holland was actually the only good player for us. I thought, he was getting in behind their defence a lot, putting balls into nobody because obviously no one was there to attack it. But he was the only real threat, and then Wurzel took him off, and it all went to shit from there. But no, he's no doubt a talented player, but it's now with the injury, it's a level of is it going to be a ongoing problem with the hamstring, or is it just going to be one to shake off? I mean, if it's an ongoing problem, it's a no from me personally because it's no good having injury-prone players in your squad. If it isn't and you can shake it off, there's no doubt there's talent there. Yeah, by all means, get him in.
I mean, given his age, he stands a much better chance of recovering relatively quicker than like Yarmolenko, for example, Antonio, etc. But all right, so say for hypothetical reasons that Holland is back to normal at the start of next season. He's facing a lot of competition at that right side, isn't he? Because he's potentially up against Bowen, Antonio, possibly even still Yarmolenko. Where would you rate him for
Dean
the?
Garner as well.
Yeah, exactly, Grady as well for that matter. So where would you? All right, so expand on that. In that case, though either of those two, where would you put them in the ranks for the right wing next season?
I'd definitely put one of them in front of Yarmolenko because Yarmolenko's just disappeared. Where is Yarmolenko? I don't think he's been very good lately. before he's just done his disappearing act. I think Dean Garner's had a great season for West Brom with the Championship.
Yep.
He's a big part in getting them to where they are now. Snodgrass ain't getting any younger. I don't think he's a wide player for me because he doesn't have the legs. I think he's much more better central.
And
he's more. I think he's more for the set pieces, to be honest. And as for I mean, I don't think you can take Antonio out of the team because he makes a difference. And I don't think Antonio's good as a winger. I think you play him in a 4-4-2. But Bowen, I wouldn't take out. Anderson right now isn't very good at all. But yeah, Bowen you wouldn't take out. So yeah, it's probably a case of fighting between Yarmolenko and Anderson for me. Because I wouldn't play Snodgrass as a wide player. So Snodgrass is straight out for me on the wide side.
It's a fair point, mate. Completely fair point. Wally's asking a good question. Where are we? Once my mouse starts working, it's working again. Where are we? There you go. So asking, is Sunday Silver back? Yes, Wally, he is. He's playing for the under-23s for the last few games, and has been absolutely smashing it there. So again, another player, Dom. Would you bring him in for next season? Give him a proper chance because he only had that game against Birmingham in the FA Cup last season.
Yeah. He looked good though. He looked good.
He did.
But again, he's been injured, isn't he, for a very long time. So is it going to be another injury-prone job?
Good point.
I personally, I mean, he's a striker as well, isn't he?
Zande, yeah.
Play up front, yeah. So if we've got Holland and Dean Gardner, maybe try him through the middle if you've got enough wingers.
I mean, would you give if the season does reschedule at any point and resumes? Would you give Yeti just one more go just to see if you can do it or not?
I'd have him on the bench, but he just doesn't. He doesn't do it. Marshy hates him. Marshy absolutely hates him. I remember when we went Newport away, and Jetty made his debut. And Marshy didn't know his name. He kept calling him 27. He was like, "Oh shit, 27! What are you doing, 27?" Because we just signed him a couple of weeks earlier, and no one really knew of him. And he wasn't very good against Newport, but we won the game. And then he started against Oxford, and we got smashed 4-0. And again, he wasn't very good. So the signs are there. If you're playing really poorly against a League Two and a League One side in a not so glorified cup, I mean, is there really any hope? But you give him more of a chance. And then we played Newcastle, and I remember we went 3-0 down. And this is literally, he come on before I called it. I remember I said, we'll make 2 subs, but Newcastle will get a third goal. And it happened because Jetty come on, we went 4-4-2. Straight after we went 3-0 down, Jetty was through on goal and he ran away from the keeper. He took it round the keeper and he just he ran out wide. Doesn't know what to do, no confidence. I think when he come on against Everton, he done all right. He was lucky not to get sent off, to be fair, but he showed something. I'll keep him on the bench at least, but he's not very good, is he?
So what about Pablo Fornals? Because he didn't exactly start his West Ham career brilliantly up until about October, around about November time. So again, would you keep now? Because obviously he's now one of our most consistent players. How are you feeling about him this season?
Oh, I think he's our most important player. I think he's the only player who can create anything, unlock a bit of defence, some defences. I think he's the only one who's actually could drive forward, not scared to have a go. A bit like Bowen, he arrives right place, right time. He's a bit of a poacher as well, sort of Kevin Nolan type, like arriving from the edge of the box to get a goal. I do think though, with Moyes, he's got to play him in the middle because he's been playing him out wide recently, and it's just not good. Especially when you've got like Anderson in there, and it definitely has to start because Lanzini isn't good enough anymore. But Fornals for me, you've got to just carry on if the season carries on.
Exactly. A little bit earlier, West Ham cyber leader asked, who do you think will go down? For me, Brighton, Norwich and Bournemouth. So who do you think the three relegations are going to be, Don?
Neither. The coronavirus is going to cancel the season. Who do you say? Brighton, Norwich, and Bournemouth.
Yeah, Brighton, Norwich, and Bournemouth.
I think Norwich are gone. I've watched a lot. I mean, I've not watched Norwich at all. I did actually when we smashed them. We should have smashed them about 8-0. But I've looked. I mean, I watched match today, and when Norwich come on, and they play good football, but they're not clinical enough, and they always get punished. And that's the story of a side that always end up getting relegated, punished for their mistake, punished for not being clinical in this league, and it's the most unforgiving league of all. Bournemouth. I don't know. I think Bournemouth are a good side, but they just had a shit season. Brighton, yeah, Brighton's a fair point. Villa. I think Villa have lost their last 5, so they're in a bit of a free fall at the minute without any confidence, and they can't get a goal. And yeah, like
Leonard is pointing out, that's a bit of a
fracture. I completely agree, but. Villa for me. I mean, I thought we'd go. I mean, we could go down easily. I mean, if the season resumes, we could go down. I'm not ruling us out to go down one bit at all. And in some ways, I do think we deserve to go down because we've been terrible. But Villa, given Villa at the minute, having lost their last 5, and they're probably going to be down because they've lost the League Cup final amongst that as well. They're probably certs for me at the minute, but it could all change. 2 wins and you're up there away from it. 2 losses and you're right back down there. It's a weird season, but for me, Norwich are already gone. Brighton, could easily get dragged into it. Well, they are in it, and they could easily go down. I just got a feeling Bournemouth will get out of it. But they make too many mistakes.
Yeah, agreed, mate. I mean, that's the funny thing about Bournemouth is the fact that they're kind of like in a way sort of like a Liverpool of quite a few years back, whereas they'll concede, but they will still they will just get a point out of something somehow. They always seem to do it. All right, so just coming up to the final one I want to talk to you about, mate. Give me since you've been watching football, West Ham since what 2006 or 8? You were saying 7-8 season.
2003.
2003. Okay.
West Ham supporter. So 2003-4.
Okay, so over those 16, 17 years, you give me let us know your starting 11 of the players from that time. So starting off with your goalkeeper, who would you have as in goal?
Rob Green.
Fair shout. Right back?
Lucas Neal.
I had a horrible feeling to say Joey O'Brien there just for a laugh.
No. I like Lucas Neal a lot. I thought he was good.
Yeah, he was very good player. I mean, the only improvement we had was when Lucas Neal went, our own goal ratio dropped rapidly. But other than that, yes, he used to get a lot of own goals from him. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I thought Lucas Neal was a solid player. I liked him.
Yeah, very good. He was a good captain for us as well. So your centre backs. Who are your centre backs?
Reed and oh god, this is a hard one because I'm trying to think like Reed's been a brilliant servant for the club, but right now he's on loan in America, isn't he? But
yeah,
I'm gonna go with Tompkins and Reed because I think without them two, we'd definitely not come up in 2012.
Definitely, and they were very good together. Once Reed found his balance in the Championship, they were very, very good partnership. Agreed. So left back.
This is hard because I like George McCartney when he was first here, and then he went back to Sunderland, and then he came back when we got relegated, and he was very pivotal. But injuries just destroyed him. I thought Cresswell for his first few seasons was absolutely magnificent, but he's just been dreadful lately. Ilunga was all right. Hirita Ilunga. Masuaku, no. I'll probably going to go Creswell just based on his first 3 seasons.
Okay. So what formation are you going? You go 4-4-2, 4-5-1?
4-3-3.
Okay, 4-3-3. All right. So who would be your right winger?
Right winger. Oh God. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of right wingers we've had in my era. Oh God, I forgot. I'm trying to think. Like,
you could put Joey Cole in there. You could put.
Yeah, Joe Cole. Yeah.
I mean, technically, Collinson was out right wing for a couple of games.
I mean, I'm trying to get the rubbish ones out of the way. Like all I'm thinking, people like Bo Morte and Pablo Barrera are springing to mind, and Kieran Dyer and the like right now. So like, I'm definitely not putting them in. Christ.
Dave's made a good point. Travis Sinclair. What about Travis Sinclair?
Yeah, that literally just came to mind. Yeah, Travis Sinclair. I was so young when Sinclair was about. Completely fucking forgotten.
All right. Yep. So you say you're choosing Cole or Sinclair for the right wing? Good. Sinclair. Okay, so centre mid.
Noble, without a doubt. I mean, he's coming to. He's not as good as he is now, but he's one man club, West Ham through and through. Dragged us through the dark times, flourished through the good times.
Yeah.
So definitely you've got to stick him in there. I'll put Dimitri Payet in the number 10 without a shadow of a doubt. I want to
with the midfield three, who's going to be, before we talk about the number 10 role, what we should talk about, but who would be your out on the left in that case?
Or on the left wing?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, I'll put Payet on the left wing.
Okay. He did some very good work for us down there. Well, great. 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So you're attacking three. Ignore what Darren's saying Zaza up front. He's only joking. I know the guy well. He's only joking. So who would your front three be?
So my front three's already with Sinclair and Payet on the wings. So I've got to have a striker. Samasi Abu. no. Di Canio.
Caravan. So Di Canio, and who were the other two? Sorry.
So my front three is Sinclair, Di Canio, and Payet.
Yep. All right. So
midfield two. So I've got my midfield in Noble. So I need two more.
Yeah.
So Noble in the mid.
I
want to put Rice in. I just don't think he's played with us for that long, but he's fantastic. So we've had some good midfielders.
We have
before the midfield crisis. Diarme was fantastic for a season. Chiati was fantastic for 2 seasons. Who did we have when we went down? I mean, Hitzels. Do you know what? Hitzelsberg was good. I liked him.
The hammer.
I didn't put him in because we got relegated when he was there. Hitzelsberg and the like.
Is that the reason why you could be leaving Denver Bar as well, for that matter? Is that the reason why you're leaving Denver Bar out?
I'll tell you what. No, I found out. I found it. Benny Yoon. Fucking love that guy.
Yeah.
Benny Yoon. Love Benny Yoon. He was one of my favourite West Ham players of all time. Growing up as a kid, I loved him. I thought technically he was amazing. He scored so many superb goals. And when he left for Liverpool, I was really upset. But then we got Craig Bellamy, and I like Craig Bellamy as well. But I like Yossi Benayoun. I remember Yossi Benayoun come back on loan in for the season we come back up. We signed him on deadline day from Chelsea. And I was buzzing. I was so excited. I was so happy. Because bearing in mind, he'd been a journeyman. He'd been at Liverpool. He'd been to Arsenal. I think he was at Arsenal the year before on loan as well. And he was obviously a Chelsea player. He's played for all these big clubs, and I think he was exceptional for Liverpool. I remember he scored. I think he scored like a hat trick for Liverpool in the Champions League as well. Brilliant, absolutely superb. And then he come to us, and I was absolutely delighted. I mean, I was soaring through the roof with joy. And I remember that the next day we were at a home game, and I took my shirt and I got his name on the back. And then he left in January, and he won the Europa League with Chelsea in May. So that went well. But yeah, I'll definitely have Yossi Benayoun in there.
I'll take that. I mean, like you say, even with his second stint with us, I absolutely loved him. I don't know, he didn't play a huge amount, but it was very entertaining to watch him still. Okay, guys, thank you, Dom. It's been absolutely.
You missed out, player.
Eh?
I've got 10 players. I need one more.
Oh, sorry, no, yeah, sorry, and one more. Sorry, no, you're right. Go on.
I need the number 10 behind Paolo Di Canio. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to put Di Canio in the number 10.
Okay.
And I'm going to have another striker. Right, I've got to pick between Harewood and Zamora here because they're my heroes. Fucking hell. Who do I choose? I need people in the comments need to choose for me. Harewood and Zamora. It's got to be one of them because. Well,
let me put it this way. This might make it a little bit easier for you. Who was more on target out of the two?
See, Zamora got us up with the winning playoff final goal, and he scored so many important goals. But Harewood got us to the FA Cup final. He was our top scorer for a couple of seasons.
Dave's thrown in.
I'm going to go Harewood. All right.
I was going to say because Dave's put in a bit of a wild card there.
Yeah, Ashton. Yeah, Ashton. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a good 11, mate. That's a good 11. Mate, that's
obviously I would have put names in there who, the Hurst, the Moores, and the Peters, but they were before my time. I mean, this 11's purely out of my era, my personal era, and I'm only 24 years of age, so I haven't seen like the likes of Bonds either, or Brooking or Dix ever play. I know about their legacies. I know what club legends and great players they've been, but those guys I've named in my 11, the ones I've seen play, and they're there for me. I mean, I remember when Hare would come back for a testimonial and he scored that goal, I was almost in tears because he's a childhood hero of mine. I remember when I met him in the away at Fulham last season. Loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. Definitely one of my favourite ever players.
Definitely, I agree completely, mate. I absolutely loved him. I was really, really gutted. I should be sitting in Leytonstone now, hearing him talk about West Ham because he was the West Ham away event.
Pre-match event.
Yeah, it was a real shame. I was really, really pumped for that. Hopefully, if this season or next season, hopefully we'll be able to see it because I was really, really looking forward to that. But Dom, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. I'm very glad we've been able to do this. To be honest, that hour's gone pretty quick. I'm quite impressed. I've quite enjoyed it, and the guys in the chat have seem to be enjoying the conversation as well. So, guys, thank you very, very much for sticking with us and joining in on the conversations in the parts. The next guest hopefully will be Lena on Wednesday night, so we'll be able to, I'm just trying to arrange a few final bits with her, but guys, in the meantime, if you're new to the channel, welcome. It's great to see you, and I hope if you like it and you want to see more content, then please do hit the subscribe button. For those who are watching the replay, put your comments down in the comments on the conversation we've had and your starting 11s as well, for that matter. So, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you very, very soon. All the best.